One Body is something that came about when my daughter started going through some pretty serious, painful stuff. It brought up a lot of my own childhood, teenage, young adult traumas and emotional issues. I started writing, and I remember saying that I would never ever write a book, or I would never journal, or I would never have a diary because I was so embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to ever see it or find it. Because I was in so much pain, I had to at least write something. So I just started scribbling down, like, fuck this, fuck everybody. I hate this, I hate that. And slowly but surely, memories of things that I had pushed aside or pushed down and somehow forgotten started to come to the surface. All of a sudden I looked up one day and I had all these little notebooks full of things about my life. So there it was, that was the book. And so the book talks about my childhood and things that I went through then, things that I went through as a young adult, how I started using and drinking, the things that people did to me, things that happened with my children, and also how I somehow got through it and was able to come out on the other side and be where I am today. I enjoy creating. I love writing because I can express what's going on inside my heart and what's going on inside my head. I can't say whether I love modeling more than I love writing, you know, writing a book or speaking about something, but I love the creating. I love taking what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking and what I've been through and just presenting it to people. I hope that whatever I do and whatever I say or whatever I write or, you know, photo shoots or the message, I don't know if you notice, if you look at a lot of the modeling, it all has a message, and some of the stuff is super dark, which I love. Like I have tattoos that are really dark, but they all mean something to me. I have one of my daughters is 22 years old, and she is an active addict. I'm in contact with her, but over the years, each time I talk to her, she looks sicker and sicker. And she will contact me and talk to me about things that she's experiencing, and they are so identical to the things that I went through, and they're so, it's the same, it's the life, it's just, it is that life. It's like watching, feeling her pain. I can feel it. It's like the same stuff all over again. And I offer her help because I had her in programs up until she turned 18, and I'm raising, well, my son, well, Jaden is her biological son, and watching her deteriorate and knowing what the possibility is that she could die, but not just knowing it because I hear other people talk about it, knowing that she could overdose, be murdered, or anything. You know, she's already being severely physically abused by the people that she's around, and knowing that, but also knowing that I've been exactly where she is, it is excruciating to talk to her and see her, the state of her body and her face and her mindset is heartbreaking. It's beyond heartbreaking. It's, you know, this is my child. This is my baby, my offspring. And to not be able to do anything about it, wanting to just like wanting to just like fix it, because I feel like from a very small age, that's what we do as parents. And they're small and they're tiny and they fall down and they put their hands up to us and they say, Mama, Mama, help me. Because that's what they're programmed to do. And as a parent, that's what you do. And to not be able to do that is hard. And especially for me, because I know that if she can survive this, she's gonna be fucking amazing. I just have to force myself to compartmentalize picturing the things that are happening to her, or picturing the things that I know she's doing to survive. And I have another daughter that I need to function for, and I need to work, and I need to support this family. So I have to, push things, emotional things to the side sometimes, but I'll always be there for her. So when she's ready, and I hope that she does survive it, because the fact is people die every day from this. And at any time I could get that call, and I call it it's the call, like whenever I see they found a body of a young woman, I start asking friends and texting people that know, hey, do you think this, do you have a description? People that I know might be in law enforcement or whatever. And I say, hey, do you have a description of that body? Can you get that to me, please? Because it could be her. And it's not, it could be her. And I just pray that it never will be. But it is hard. It's hard. And it's painful, but there's hope. Like I said, there's always hope. And I try to give that to her. I try to, let her know there's hope, and you don't have to live like this, and you don't have to stay like this. But at the same time, I also know that it doesn't matter what you say and how much you love your child. They have to be ready. So Jaden is my grandson, and I brought him straight home from the hospital to my house. I became his legal foster mother in the process of becoming his permanent mother. His mama, he calls me Mama, and he is fresh and amazing and has changed my life in many ways. Drains me at times, but I knew that after living the life that I lived and knowing what children go through, knowing that I am and was, now that I'm clean and sober, in a position to protect him. And part of who I am is I have a very, very strong need to protect people who cannot speak for themselves. Some people haven't learned how to speak up for themselves yet. And so immediately, without thinking, I said to my daughter, when I found out she was pregnant, I said, just give him to me. Just give me the baby. And I didn't know how I was gonna do it, but it was just, I think it was just love driven. And he's been with me ever since. There was a time in my life when I had been so broken down by abusers, or the way that sexual abuse had made me feel about my body. So what happens is, there's so much shame surrounding sexual abuse. There is the way that the person feels, you feel like you're this big, you feel like nothing, you feel like almost disgusting. You almost feel disgusting. You don't like looking at your own body. The other thing too is, when I was using and drinking, I didn't want to look at myself, ever. I never wanted to look at myself, because it was, to me, it was something hideous. I never looked in the mirror for years. The things I was doing were gross. The way I felt about myself was gross. And remember, if you start your using and your drinking because of a trauma, you've got that trauma, right? I had that childhood trauma. Then I had more trauma. Then when I got into the life, I was constantly traumatized. There was always something bad happening to me. And so I just went into this shell where I didn't love myself. I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know how to love anybody else. So when I got clean and sober, I was free And I was still very kind of demure, and I was also like, I got very caught up in that whole like, you're only a lady if your body's covered. That whole idea, like that ridiculous, like, I hate saying it, like rape culture, where like, oh, if you dress this way, that's why you got raped. You're dressing provocatively, or you're not covering yourself, and that's why people abuse you. Like, people literally have that mentality, and it's fucking disgusting. I eventually started to look at myself again. I started to look at my face again. I was just so ashamed of everything about me. All my features, especially my body. I didn't want anybody touching me. So over time, I began to fall in love with myself again. And I started looking at myself and my face and my features and my body and realizing how beautiful your body is. And I don't have hang-ups about if I choose the time and place. I love modeling. I love choosing to show things that are beautiful about myself because it's my choice. I feel like there are so many people in pain, whatever the reason is, whether it be drug abuse, addiction, sexual abuse, domestic violence, human trafficking, whatever it is. There's a moment of despair where you feel like you will never get out. You feel like no one will believe you or nobody will listen to you, and that the pain and the grief that you're feeling is going to go on forever. I'm here to tell you that that's not the case. Again, there is hope. That feeling you're feeling is going to pass. There is a way out. There's a way to get away from the person who is hurting you. There is a way to get out of being a slave to drugs and alcohol. There is hope, and I'm living proof of it. I don't like saying it like that because it sounds proud, and I don't want to seem that way. But I talk about my experiences bluntly, and I talk about my life directly so that you know and people know that doesn't matter how dark it got for you, it doesn't matter how bloody it got for you, it doesn't matter how fucking disgusting you were living, you can get out, because I was that person with the bleeding split feet, sleeping in pissy mattresses in a shitty basement, you know, getting arrested, getting my ass beat, bloody, getting my face crushed in, getting my tailbone cracked, like living that life and not ever seeing any end to it. And now I go to sleep at night. I sleep all night. I wake up peaceful. No one's allowed to hurt me. I want to say that if someone's hurting you or if you're in some kind of turmoil, there is a way out. And I would say reach out to me, reach out to the show, somebody, even if it's somebody that you don't know, talk to somebody, tell somebody, always speak up, always speak up, always speak out. It doesn't matter if you tell one person and that person doesn't believe you, tell another person, keep talking, even if it's little by little, eventually you're gonna be able to get out, you're gonna be able to get help. And not only are you gonna be able to survive any kind of hell that you're in or any hell that you've lived, but you can come out on the other side shining. You can be amazing. You can be more than what you have lived. I don't live in an angry state constantly. I think because I talk with a lot of people and I do speaking and I'm exposed to a lot of the disgusting things that people do to each other, it triggers me to feel angry about the things that they have to go through at someone else's hand. And it's every day, like I see it every day, Facebook, Instagram, you know, TV. I absolutely get angry because I'm not okay with people treating other people like shit. And I feel like somehow it has become my job, and whether I've made it my job or whether it is what's meant to be, if I see you hurting somebody or taking advantage of somebody, I'm on your ass. I do get angry, and that's my personality. I'm a little aggressive, but it's just the way I am, because there was a time when I couldn't talk for myself and I couldn't speak for myself, and I sat in a corner cowering, getting my ass beat on a daily basis, getting my ass beat bloody. So you better believe I'm going to be forward, and if it comes across as angry, it's okay. Because if, like I keep saying, if it's helping someone get out of a situation and that can better their life or better their quality of life or save their life, I'm okay with that. This one time during me using that, I was living in a drug house, and it was way down in a back alley. There was a guy that worked there, and I, for whatever reason, I can't remember, I wanted to leave the house, and they had said, you can't leave. I remember feeling really trapped and almost like a caged animal. Like I wanted to leave and I wanted to just be out of there, and they wouldn't let me leave. And this guy that was there who, I remember him like physically pulling me back from the door and me, you know, like pushing me around and me fighting him physically to try to leave. And at one point, he grabbed me and he pushed me down onto the couch, and he held my head, like my side of my face, into the couch, and he took his fist and he just drilled his fist into the side of my face. And I didn't know at the time, but he had crushed my cheekbone, and I still have the indent from it. And I also don't have any teeth here. From here back, I don't have any teeth. And he tried to make it better by giving me some shit so I could get high. And then I was just wailing and bawling. And I kept begging the guy, you know, please let me go to the hospital. Please, 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 just get me some help. And obviously they didn't want me to go anywhere because they didn't want the police involved, and they didn't want, you know, anybody to know. So instead of letting me leave, they sent me downstairs. And so I was down there, and the guy got me ice, and he's, you know, he felt so bad for me, and he was like kind of holding me a little bit, and he said, just go lie down, just go to sleep, go lie down in my bed. He had a bed like in the next room, and I went and laid down, and that for me was comfort. Like I felt like I was gonna be okay, at least for the moment, and I was in so much pain. I remember him coming in and laying down next to me, and I could feel him pushing himself up against me, and he tried to screw me. And here's a woman who has just been severely beaten. My face was cut. I was so hideous. The entire side of my face was bruised. What's attractive about that? But this guy's trying to bang me. And I didn't, like you know, he didn't rape me, he didn't force himself on me, but he still tried. And here's, like, what's attractive about a woman who is incapacitated? And this is the reason that I speak, and this is the reason that I talk, so that you know, people know, so that women know, like, people prey on weak, when they see somebody who is weak, there are certain kinds of people who prey on weak people. So imagine what it was like for me to think I was getting some kind of help and some kind of relief, and here's this guy and he tries to screw me. And I never went to the hospital. I think I was in that house for about, I don't remember, I'm gonna just guess and say a week before I even was allowed to leave. I couldn't, it was just awful. They just kept feeding me drugs, and it was just disgusting. And that whole existence was just horrible. I was so, you know, I feel like that's why I say, like, nothing surprises me with people. I just kind of brush it and move on. And that's why I'm like that today. But that was probably one of, among other stories, one of the worst things that happened to me. My desire to get high or to drink is, thank God, gone. I do when I'm stressed, when I'm in emotional pain. it crosses my mind. I think about it. I mean, you know, it's always a possibility. Anybody can relapse at any time. I'm coming up on 14 years. Anybody's susceptible, you know, anybody could relapse. I pray and I hope that I never do, but I take steps and I do things to ensure that that doesn't happen. I choose not to do it because now I know what's going to happen. So I know that if I do, I'll die. It's just the bottom line. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, might not be next week, but at some point, it's gonna kill me. I would lose Jaden, I would not have my children, well, my youngest, it's still at home, 17, and it would cause a lot of pain. And like I said, it would kill me, ultimately. I love helping people. I love giving people hope. So if I were to pick something, it would be my speaking, and it would be, I would say, the messages that get sent when I create. When someone receives my message, however they receive it, I want people to know that there's hope. Whatever hurts, it's not gonna feel like that forever. I promise you it's not. And so for me, that's my favorite part of everything that I do, and that's the reason that I do anything that I do. When I speak about things that have happened to me and things that have been done to me by other people, violent things, things that have hurt me, things that have dramatically changed my life, I'm no longer with an abusive partner. I'm no longer with someone who has any hold over me. I'm no longer living the life where I'm in the street and I'm subject to where people are, you know, robbing each other, hurting each other, killing each other, beating on each other. So I'm not subject to that anymore. I feel like I do think about it. It's a thought, but because I've persevered through the worst things that could ever happen to anyone in life, I always say, like, I don't fear helping other people talk about their issues, because what is someone gonna do to me aside from kill me that hasn't already been done? And it is what it is. And I know that I can save someone's life by telling my story. And I know that I can help someone, a young person, a child, a woman, even a guy, somebody, anybody. If it's gonna help somebody, I'm doing it. So my fear, I have to push that aside. But it does pop up every once in a while. But it is what it is, you know?